Hi all, today we will discuss about drawable resources. So drawable resource is actually a general concept. That is, if you want some graphics on your screen or if you want to draw some graphics on your screen, then you have to use something called as drawable class and its subclasses to draw shapes and images. So mainly drawable resources are being used for drawing something on your screen. So there are several types of drawable resources that has been available in your Android system. So the first one is the bitmap file. So bitmap file is just a bitmap graphical file which will be of three formats, that is Android supports three formats: .png, .jpg or .gif. So in which .png is the most preferred one, .jpg is actually accepted, but .gif is actually discouraged. So when you want to draw something that is actually a image, then you can use this type of drawable, that is bitmap file. So I have given an example of it in which you have applied the drawable onto an image view. So you can see that your height is, you have given it as wrap text. So that means wrap content. That means the where you are going to place that, to that size you have to place the height, and similarly the width has to be occupied inside that area itself. And you can take your image from a drawable by my image. That will be the source from which your image will be taken. So whatever be the drawable that you are going to use, you have to place that drawable in the res bar drawable directory. So whatever that has been specified in the res bar drawable directory will be accessed and will be used. So that is bitmap file. Then the next one is the 9-patch file. So 9-patch file is actually a PNG image in which you can define structural regions to allow image resizing based on the content. That is, here you can provide structural regions. That is, if you place your mouse pointer there, you can stretch it out according to our will, unless and until it doesn't exceed the normal image bounds. So in this type of drawable resources, we will not be normally using wrap content. That is, even if it is being used, it will be set to only one dimension, not in both dimensions. Okay. So here you can see that you have used the same thing, that is Android layout height, in which it is given as wrap content. Then layout width is also given as wrap content. Then the background thing, that is whatever be the thing that is coming on the background, will be a 9-patch file. Then the next type of drawable resource is the layer list. That is, if your drawable object wants to be an array of drawables, then you have to specify it as layer list. So each drawable in the list is drawn in the order of the list. That is, the last drawable in the list is drawn on the top. So for defining a layer list, you have to use the tag layer list. So in that you will be specifying the schema, where that is where your corresponding drawable is being there, that you have to specify. Then you can see that the first drawable, that is actually a bitmap drawable. It is placed in the center. You can see that over there. Then the second item is another bitmap drawable. The third item will be another bitmap drawable. So first will be the red, something will be red, and on the top of that you will be having the green thing, and on the top of that one you will be having the Android blue thing. Okay, So that is how, that is on the top, one above the other you will be placing the drawables. So in that case you will be using the layer list. Okay. So the next one is the stateless. So stateless is actually a drawable that uses several different images to represent the same graphic. That is, for example, if you want to do that on a button, then you have to show an image when the button is pressed, and you have to show another image if the button is not pressed. So in that case you will be using stateless. Not just not like layer list. Here it will represent the state at which that current thing is. So depending upon the state you will be having the different drawable. So for that, instead of using list, you have to use the tag selector, and in that selector you can see that when the button, here it is a button, so when the state is pressed as true, then the drawable will be this one, and if the state is focused as true, then the drawable will be this one, and if the state is hovered true, then the corresponding another drawable will be drawn. And if that's not the case, then the corresponding drawable will be normal, that is button is on normal state, that drawable will come. So like that is depending upon the state of the item, that is whether if it is a button or anything like that, then depending upon that you will draw the corresponding drawable. So for that purpose you will be using this type of drawable, that is stateless. Then the next one is actually the Levellist. So Levellist is also an XML file that defines a drawable that manages a number of alternate drawables, each assigned a maximum numerical value. That is, in this type of drawable, it manages a number of alternate drawables. For example, it will be setting the level value of the drawable with set level function, and loads the drawable resource in the level list that has a Android max level value greater or equal to the value pressed to the method. That is, if the value pressed to the method is 1, then it will show you the drawable that is actually assigned a value 1. So in this you can see that here you have an item, and items, the maximum level and minimum level, it is been specified. That is, you have specified it as integers. So whenever you are going to specify, that is if it is a status of button, then you will specify the maximum level as 0, and if it is a status on button, then you will specify the maximum level as 1. So depending upon the value, if it is a 1, that means the drawable has to be status of button, and if the minimum value, that is the coming value, is 0, then it has to be an off button drawable. Like that, here you have not specified anything, that is you have not specified a value for it. So here you will be specifying values for the button press, that is for status of the button you will be specifying maximum and minimum value, and depending upon the value that has been returned from it, you will be having several drawables. So that type of drawable is known as level list drawable. Then the next type of drawable is the transition drawable. The transition drawable is actually a drawable object that can crossfade between the two drawable resources. That is, each drawable will be represented by an item element. So you can see that there is an item element, and inside a single transition element, no more than 2 items are supported. So in this you can see that if it is drawable, it will fade between 2 drawable. That is, first this drawable on will come, and after that drawable off will come, and later on will again come, off will like that it will transition between or fade between two drawable resources will happen if you have used transition drawable. So in transition drawable, there has to be only two items inside a drawable list. No more than two items can be placed in the transition drawable. Then the next type of drawable is the insert drawable. Insert drawable actually wants to insert another drawable by a specified distance. That is, if you want to come an image in another image after certain portion. Okay, that is half of the previous image has to be there. The other half will be placed by another, or over that half the another image has been placed. That is known as insertion. So that can be done with the help of insert drawable. So here you have to specify the drawable by using this one, that is Android drawable. Then you have to specify the orientation, whether it has to be horizontal clip or it is a vertical clip. Then you have to specify the Android gravity attribute. Why we require Android gravity attribute is that same as before. That is, it will specify the dimension where which you will be cutting that corresponding drawable. Okay, so here it will be horizontal left cut. On the horizontal section, left portion of that corresponding drawable will be replaced by another drawable. Not completely one drawable has been replaced by another drawable. It will just clip it out and then place that portion over another drawable. Then the other one is the scale drawable. In scale drawable, that is actually an XML file that defines a drawable that changes the size of another drawable based on its current level value. That is, if the drawable is actually having a size, that is, if size is, for example, it's 10%. Then if it is 10, size is 10, then if you have specified it as a scale drawable, then you can change the size of the drawable. That is, if you want to increase, that is width, height as well as width of that corresponding drawable has been increased by 80%, then that much you will just zoom it out. Just like zooming an image, like that the image will become bigger. So for scaling that image, you can use scale drawable. And scale height will always be specified in percentage, and it will be inside that drawable bound. And if you have clipped, you can see that you have specified scale gravity. That is, this specifies the gravity position after scaling. And you can have several gravity scales like top, bottom, left, right, center vertical, central horizontal, like that. So central vertical means it places object in the vertical center of its container, not changing its size. Central horizontal means place the object in the horizontal center of its container by not changing its size. Then we are just elongating it by 80%. Then the last type of drawable is the shape drawable. So this XML file just defines a geometric space, including colors and gradients. Geometric space in the sense means it can be rectangle, oval, line, ring, like that. It will just specify not an image, it will just specify some shapes. And that type of drawable is known as shape drawable. So these are the different types of drawables that is normally used in your Android. That is shape drawable, scale drawable, clip drawable, insert drawable, transition drawable level list, stateless, layer list, 9-patch file and bitmap file. You have to mention the examples along with the definitions once you are writing about drawable for an essay question. So I guess you have understood. Thank you.